Some of you might recognize this doc from the Clay graduation workflow, but this is actually a campaign that we actually launched for somebody. And I think this campaign is really, really interesting because it flies in the face of conventional wisdom. And so, what I mean by that is there is a lot of people who, even on my own YouTube channel, who say personalization is meaningless, relevance is everything. And I like to think in a hierarchy of course, if you have something relevant to say, you should say that relevant thing. And if you have nothing better to say, then you should personalize. And so for everybody who doesn't know what I mean, let's catch up. If you personalize an email, usually what you're talking about is, hey, I saw you went to Rutgers. Do you ever get to go back there? And so you just personalized it with something that has nothing to do with your offer. But if you said, hey, I saw you're using Type Dream to build your website, and you also have RB2B installed, do you ever find that the integration between the two is very clunky, which isn't even a true statement. But anyway, that would be relevant to say, hey, this integration is clunky, we have something better to fix it, whatever it might be, right? That's the relevant thing to say. So you should always stick with relevant, not personalization. And so this Clay graduation workflow, if you're not familiar with it, we're launching 8 campaigns from one Clay table. And so this is to sell offshore talent recruiting services. And so over here, we're saying, hey, companies that already hire internationally, we basically just want to say, hey, they're already hiring internationally. I bet they'll hire more people. Let's see. If they're new in their role, we're going to reach out to them. If they've been founded in the past 2 years, our messaging is basically like, hey, you've only been in for 2 years. That might mean that you're not the best at recruiting. We can help you with offshore talent, blah, 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 blah. And then we have our LinkedIn post lead in over here as well too, which I think some of the gurus would say that, hey, this LinkedIn post, this is a personalization, it has nothing to do with the rest of the message. Now, it could be the fact that I suck and that these messages are terrible for the companies hiring internationally. It could be the fact that companies hiring internationally might be the wrong signal. Here, my hypothesis was if you hire people internationally, you're going to hire more people. That didn't turn out to be the case. We probably should try it in reverse too. I'm fully admitting that. Maybe our copywriting could have been better. But if you were to look at these 4 triggers and say, what is going to be the best trigger? Many of the gurus would say the LinkedIn post lead-in is the personalization, and it's not going to be great. Because we're literally saying, I saw your LinkedIn post about AI generation. Am I right that you help people do blah, 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 right? This personalization has nothing to do with the offer at all. Nothing. But which one of these campaigns performed the best? The LinkedIn post lead-in. By far, this campaign worked better than anything else. And maybe I'll add a video on at the end of this to show the Slack channel. But the LinkedIn post lead-in did better than anything else. Well, I guess I can't do that because the email addresses are in there, and I hate editing my videos. I'm sorry, guys. But you're just going to have to take my word for it, that the LinkedIn post lead-in did better than anything else in this workflow. And I think a lot of the gurus would say that, that shouldn't work because, this personalization has nothing to do with your offer. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, I am saying unequivocally that you should always try to be relevant. I've been told that I am ground zero for spam, so I want to make sure that I unequivocally am saying the best message you can send when you're sending a cold email is to think about what would you manually send if you were to do research? How does that tie in with your value proposition? And then how can you automate that? That's what the best thing that you can send. But sometimes trying these other things like this, reaching out and saying something about their LinkedIn post, I think it works because a little bit of cold email is about outrunning the bear, where you don't have to have the best email in the world. You just have to be better than other people's emails. And even though this didn't help our messaging at all, from a value proposition standpoint, it still got more positive responses. And so this is just one that I think everybody should be trying a LinkedIn post lead-in. It's very difficult to scrape this data. Not a lot of people have it. We use Clay to be able to get the data. It's one of those things still that if somebody sent you this email, you would think they actually saw your LinkedIn post, right? It's not an overused thing right now, which maybe I make this video and it becomes overused, but who knows? And so I just wanted to make this video to just show that one, LinkedIn posts as a first line is great. And so far we've seen it work for everything. This was just one of the glaring examples that we tried to be relevant and the LinkedIn post crushed it. And some of you guys might in the comments say you could have been more relevant, blah, 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 all these things, whatever. I get that. I know we could have been better. We could have always been better. But the LinkedIn post crushed everything else. And I just wanted to put out this video because I thought it was really interesting. And maybe it will help somebody else improve some of their own campaigns. So thanks for watching, and leave a comment with what you think.